This is the video for the August 2023 Regents exam, multiple choice. In question number one, a cafe owner tracks the number of customers during business hours. The graph below models the data. Based on the graph, the cafe owner saw a continual what? So you really got to go through each of the answers. The correct answer is choice number three, a decrease in customers from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Here's 1 o'clock. Here's 4 o'clock. We can see that the graph is clearly going down in between those two times. So it is a decrease in customers. It wouldn't be choice number one from 6 to 11. It increases and then decreases and then increases again. It wouldn't be choice two from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. 12 o'clock starts here. It increases and then decreases. It wouldn't be choice number four from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So starting here, it increases and then decreases. So choice number three is correct. In question number two, the expression, that trinomial plus that, is equivalent to what? You can do it the real way, or you can do it the cheater way. Doing it the real way, the first thing that you want to do is get rid of the parentheses in this second set. So you want to distribute and distribute. 2 times 11 is 22. 2 times negative 5x is negative 10x. Line them up. Put your x squareds underneath your x squareds, your x's underneath your x's, your constants underneath your constants. So then we want to add going down. When we add going down, we get that trinomial, which is choice three. The other way to do it is to take this whole thing and type it right into your y equals. Type in each of the choices individually, also into the y equals, and then second in table and find the match. Or you can hit graph and find the match. One of them matches, three of them do not match. The one that matches is the correct answer. In question number three, which point is a solution to this? The easiest way to do that is to type it into your y equals, hit second and table, and take a look at the table. Remember, all points are written x comma y. So when you hit table and you scroll up in the table to -3, you'll see that the y value is -21. None of these other points will show up on the table. In question number four, what is the value of x in this equation? So you're just solving for x. The first thing that you want to do is distribute. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times -4 is -20. So we have 10x minus 20 all over 3 plus 9 equals 14. We're trying to get that x all by itself, which means we want to get that fraction all by itself. So we want to get rid of the plus 9 by doing -9 and -9. So that gives us 5. We want to get rid of the fraction, so we do times 3 and times 3. That gives us 15 here. So now we just have 10x minus 20 left on the left-hand side. It's just a two-step equation now. Add by 20, divide by 10, and you get 3.5. The other way to do it is to take each answer individually and sub it in. So if we take the 3.5 and we sub it in for x into the equation, we can just do a check. If you end up, once you crank through the answer here, once you end up with the same number on both sides, that means the answer works. That means it checks. So that's the answer. If you plug in a 1.9, you would not get the same answer on both sides, or a 5.3 or the 8.9, you'd not get the same answer on both sides. It would not check. In question number 5, the graph of y equals f of x is shown below. Which graph represents this? Some people just know the rules that if you subtract 2 from just the x, you're moving right 2. It's a translation, right 2. And if you add 1 to the whole thing at the end, you're going up 1. So you could just graph this is really x squared, and then graph this and see how it changes. Or just type this right into your y equals. All right. Type in x minus 2. Oh no, that wouldn't work. Don't do that. We have to look at the mins. All right. We have to look at the mins going right 2 up 1. So look at the min, right 2 up 1. Look at the min. We went from our original. In question number 6, The length of a rectangular flat screen television is 6 inches less than twice its width. Be careful of that word twice. Twice means 2 times the width. They just expect you to know the formula for area of a rectangle. That's one of those formulas that they expect you to know. Area equals length times width. So 6 inches less than twice its width, x. So x is the width, 2x minus 6. Be careful. 6 less than is minus 6 at the end. You can't write it as 6 minus 2x. You'll get the wrong answer. Be careful. It's 6 less than it, so we're subtracting it from it. Remember, more than, if it did say more than means plus. So we want to multiply these two sides together. So x times 2x minus 6, and it tells you that the area is 1,100. So that would be the correct equation to use. In question number 7, a box plot is shown below. Sometimes they call it a box and whisker plot. Which number represents the third quartile? The third quartile is this right-hand side edge of the box. So that's at 60. Remember that this is your min, this is your Q1, this is your median, Q3, and max, and that comes from your 5-number summary. In question number 8, what is the product of these two binomials? So you could do FOIL. First, outers, inners, last. So we have 2x times x, 2x times -3, 7 times x, 7 times -3. We get those 4 terms. Add together your like terms here in the middle. -6x plus 7x is 1x, and we get choice number 2. The other cheater way to do it is to type it into your y equals. So you type in this whole thing into your y equals. Remember, we're multiplying them together, so it's really going to look like this with 2 sets of parentheses right next to each other. Type it into your y equals, and then type in your choices individually. Hit second and table and find the match, or graph it and find the match. What is the degree of the polynomial? The degree is your biggest exponent. Be careful. They're trying to trick you by not putting it in standard form. In standard form, your biggest exponent comes first, then your next biggest, then your next biggest, and then your plain constant at the end. They tried to trick you by putting the biggest exponent in the middle. The leading coefficient, by the way, sometimes they ask you about that. The leading coefficient in this particular problem would be a 1, because there's really a 1 in front of that x cubed. In question number 10, what is the solution to this equation? We want to distribute first. -3 times x, -3 times -6 is +18. You do have your choice here. This is one way to solve it. I always like working with the smaller of the two letters. You'll work with less negatives that way. So I chose to do +3x and +3x first. You could have done -18 and -18 first, or -2x and -2x first, or +2 and +2. I chose to do +3x and +3x, so those cancel out. Then it just becomes a 2-step equation, add 2 and add 2 to get the x all by itself, divide by 5 and divide by 5. Well, when you get that and you keep everything on the right-hand side on the right-hand side and the left-hand side on the left-hand side, you get this answer. That answer is written backwards, so we have to flip everything around. When you flip everything around, you have to flip the inequality symbol as well. That's why it is choice 2. In question number 11, 3 expressions are shown below. Which expressions are equivalent? Equivalent means equal for all the positive values of x. Well, when we're multiplying and we have exponents, you have to add the exponents. X to the third is really x to the third times x to the third times x to the third, which is x to the 9th. X to the 4th times x to the 5th, we add our exponents, x to the 9th. X to the 10th times x to the -1st is x to the 9th. So you can see that all 3 equations are the same. So it would have to be choice number 4, because you're graphing the same exact thing 3 times. You could just type all of these into your y equals, each one individually, and graph it and look at the pictures. You're going to notice right away that all 3 are the same. Or you could hit second and table, and all 3 are the same. In question number 12, Jim uses the equation A equals P times 1 plus 0.05 to the T power to find the amount of money in account A of an investment P after T years. For this equation, which phrase describes the yearly rate of change? Well, right away, I want to get rid of 2 choices. I see a 1 plus a rate in the middle. That plus a rate means that it is increasing. Therefore, I could get rid of decreasing right away and decreasing right away. If it was decreasing, it would be 1 minus the rate. This is 1 plus the rate. So it's going to be increasing. When we have this type of equation, that is not the percent. All right, that's written as a decimal. To change it into a percent, because that's how our answers are, we would have to move the decimal point over 2 places to the right. So that's really increasing by 5%. In question number 13, what are the zeros? What are the x-intercepts? What are the roots? What are the solutions of that equation? I would just type it into my y equals and hit graph. All right, when you hit graph, the zeros are where the graph crosses the x-axis. Here's our x-axis. We can see that the graph crosses at -4, at 0, and at 4. So that's choice 3. The other way to do it is to do reverse FOIL to that binomial in the middle. That's really the difference of two perfect squares, x plus 4 and x minus 4. And you also have the x over here. Remember, if you're finding the zeros, you have to set each one of those equal to 0. So x equals 0 at the beginning, x plus 4 equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0. When you solve those equations, you get 0, -4, and 4. In question number 14, for which functions is the value of the y-intercept the smallest? The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. I highlighted the y-axis in each of these pictures because I think it's a good strategy to graph them. All right. If you graph them, you can see that the y-intercept is at 0, 3, at 0, 2, at 0, 1, and at 0, 4. So which one is the smallest? Well, 1 is the smallest. Remember, by the way, there is an absolute value symbol here. The way that you do absolute value on the calculator is to go to second and then catalog at the bottom, which is 0. All right, the 0 button. And then you're looking for ABS. All right, ABS is absolute value, but second catalog, which is second 0. In question number 15, the function f is graphed on the set of axes below. What is a possible factorization of this function? You could just graph it and find the match again. All right, type each one of these equations into your y equals, graph it and find the match. You're looking for these x-intercepts or zeros or roots or solutions at -1 and 3. Or you could take each of these and set them equal to 0 and solve. Notice that I get -1 and 3, exactly what I got there. In question number 16, range. Domain comes before range, just like x comes before y. So we're looking for the y values. The range of this graph is what? All right, when we graph it, we can see that our y values, our lowest y value, our min, is at -6. So it's from -6 on up. So all the values that are greater than or equal to -6. In question number 17, tables of values for 4 functions are shown below. You could graph these points, graph these points, graph these points. These are what the 4 pictures look like. Which table best represents an exponential function? An exponential function is a single curve graph. When you graph this choice and this choice, you get lines. This graph is a quadratic or U-shaped graph. Here is our single curve. You could also just take a look at your values. You're adding numbers each time. You're adding numbers. It's going up and then back down. This one for exponential. Exponential is when we multiply by the same number each time. Multiply by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2. In question number 18, if f of x equals x squared plus 3x, then which statement is true? I would type that equation into my y equals and hit second and table. You could sub each one in by hand, but let the calculator do the work for you. And then I just put the answers right above each one just to compare them. So the f of 1, I look at my table, f of 1 is 4. So I just put a 4 there. The f of -1 is -2. So I just put a -2 there. Does 4 equal -2? No. Does 10 equal -2 here? No. Does 4 equal 10 here? No. Does -2 equal -2? Yes. In question number 19, Jack started a new fitness program. The first day he did 10 push-ups. The program required him to increase the number of push-ups each day by doing 9 less than twice the number from the previous day. So twice the previous day minus 9. Remember, less than is backwards. Which recursive formula correctly models the new program, where n is the number of days and a sub n is the number of push-ups on the nth day? I crossed off the first equation on all of them. That just tells you that the first day equals 10. It's exactly the same answer on all 4 choices. So I just crossed them out for right away. It's less to have to look at. The correct answer is choice A, twice times the previous day. Remember this, a sub n minus 1, that means the previous term. So twice times the previous term minus 9. In question number 20, which equation is equivalent to that quadratic? So there's a couple different ways that you could do this. I think the easiest way is you need to do completing the square. All right, this is in vertex form. It looks like a step during completing the square. So that's the easiest way to do this one. You could graph them and find the match if you really wanted to, but be careful. If you graph them and find the match, you have to get them set equal to 0 first. That's the work that I'm showing in each one of these. I'm getting them set equal to 0 first, and be very careful how you type it into the calculator with the parentheses and the squared. That minus 9 is after the squared. So anyway, I'm going to do completing the square. I'm going to move my C value over to the other side. So I add by 4 and add by 4. That's how I get, or sorry, subtract by 4 and subtract by 4. That's how I get the negative 4 over here. And then I'm going to take half of the B value. I'm going to go into my thought bubble, take half the B value and square it. So I'm going to go in and take half of negative 6, which is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. And I'm adding that to both sides. So now I have this trinomial. Now I want to do reverse FOIL. What times what is 9? That adds up to negative 6. It's x minus 3 and x minus 3. Remember, when you do completing the square, it's always going to be the same factors in each set of the parentheses. Negative 4 plus 9 was 5, so it equals 5. I'm just going to simplify it. Instead of x minus 3 times x minus 3, I can write x minus 3 squared. So that answer is actually the same as choice number 2. You didn't even have to finish solving it. In question number 21, what is the equation of the line that passes through that point and has a slope of negative 4/3? Rearrange it for y equals. If I go to rearrange this first equation for y equals, we have a 3y there, so I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. I get this equation. Well, that slope matches right away. The slope is the number that's in front of the x. And then just graph it or hit second and table. When you do second and table, for the x value of 6, you get a y value of negative 3. In question number 22, the function g of m represents the amount of gasoline consumed by a car traveling m miles. An appropriate domain comes before range, just like x comes before y. So we're talking about the x values would be what? So think about f of x. Normally we say y equals or f of x. So that x is in the same spot as the m. So when we're talking about the x values, we're talking about m. That means we're talking about miles. Well, what could miles driven be? Could miles be integers? No, they can't, because you can't have negative numbers. Integers include negative numbers. Could miles be rational numbers? No, they can't, because rational numbers include negative numbers. Could they be non-negative integers? Well, they could be, but could you drive decimal non-negative positive numbers? Yes, you could. You could drive 1.5 miles or 2.1 miles. And then choice number 4, which is the correct answer, non-negative rational. It can be it can be a non-decimal number, but it can also be a decimal number, and it's non-negative. In question number 23, what is the average rate of change? How you find the rate of change is the change divided by time. So how much did it change over what period of time? Well, how much did it change going from 1,000 129 to 53, because we're going from 2006 to 2013. How much did it change? Now, I'm actually going to subtract the opposite way. I'm going to do 53 minus negative, sorry, 53 minus 1,129, because I can see that my numbers are going down. In order to show a decrease, I need to do it that way. So 53 minus 1,129 is negative 1,076. Over what period of time? Well, 2013 minus 2006 is 7 years. Divide those, top divided by bottom, and we get that it's choice number 4. In question number 24, you want to cancel out numerators and denominators that are the same. So I want to cancel out euros and euros, liters and liters, euros and euros, liters and liters. When you do that, you want to then do top times top, bottom times bottom, and just see what your labels end up with. In the word problem, it says a correct way to figure out this cost in dollars per gallon. Dollars per gallon means we want dollars on the top and gallons on the bottom. Well, in choice 1, when we cross off euros and euros, liters and liters, it ends up with dollars on top and gallons on the bottom.